Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lucas Tyndale Live. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're watching this right now live, thank you. If you're watching this by replay, thank you. We appreciate you so much. We're so glad to have you here today on another great episode. We've been rolling each and every day, 5 days a week, Sunday through Thursday, bringing on great guests and great content for all of you. If it's your first time watching, my name is Lucas Tyndale. I am your host today. And my goal is to bring you great content, great information, and ultimately bring you education, motivation, and liberation. Our goal is to educate you on something new today. Our goal is to motivate you to do something with what you learned today. And then our goal is to liberate you, to set you free, to get out there and live your dreams, to be your best, to live your best life, and to do your thing and to live without fear. So I'm so excited today about today's show. We're going to have another exciting guest. I say it every day. I know I do. You guys, I say it every day. Oh, we're going to have a great guest. Oh, this person's going to be amazing. Have I lied yet? I mean, if I lied yet, just say you lied in the comments, okay? Just tell me if I'm lying. If I'm bringing on terrible guests, somebody just say, these guests don't talk about nothing. These guests are terrible. But I don't think that's the case. I've heard so much great feedback. The guests on the show have received business and followers, and so many things are going well, inboxes, and people are inboxing me to get a hold of them. People are getting help. We had a man on, Derek Jenkins, who was on a few days ago, and people have reached out to me to get help from him, to touch base with him. Some people worked with him in the past. He worked with them while they were going through drug rehab. People have reached out to me to say, can I get his contact information, because I want to thank him for what he's done. And we've been able to make those connections. Shout out to Dr. Shamika Dean, who was on. She said she's been getting inboxes and people are working with her, and her business is already doing amazing, but it just added a little something extra to it. So we're so grateful for that today. And we're so grateful for all of you. This show is Lucas Tyndale Live. It's Lucas Live, but it's live because we have the best live audience anywhere. You guys are the livest audience anywhere. That's what makes this show live. So even if you're watching by replay and you're not actually watching live, you're live. Okay, you're live. You're the ones that make this live and exciting and make it something that people want to participate in. It makes it something that people want to follow, makes it something people want to watch. Please take a moment and share this broadcast. You want to share great content on your social media pages, don't you? That's what you're about, right? You like to share great content and put stuff out there. When you see something good, you hit share so that your network knows that you're in on great stuff and great content. Well, this is great content, so don't be afraid to hit that share button and let people know to tune in now to Lucas Live. We are going to have a great guest. We are going to have Jackie, the educator, from Black Christian Influencers. She is so kind to join us today. She's going to share with us strategies about growing your network, growing your influence, growing your business. We're going to talk about what it means to have a Black Christian business. We're going to ask her all kinds of questions. When I asked her about, what are we going to talk about today, I said, is there anything off limits? And she, like all of our guests in the past, said, no, there is nothing off limits. You can ask me anything. I greatly appreciate that. I'm so excited to talk to her today. We have her logo in the background. That's BCI, Black Christian Influencers. You guys may be able to see it. You might not. Maybe my head's in the way. It's okay, but it's back there. You guys can see it. Check out Black Christian Influencers. Make sure you follow them on Instagram. Make sure you follow her on other social media. She will share more information about that as we get into the show. So I just wanted to share today that you guys may have heard about the young man that was killed, the young Black man who sadly was killed for no reason, taking a jog, and he was murdered, hunted down. Ahmaud Arbery was killed as he was jogging along in a neighborhood in Georgia, I believe. And it's very sad. And I just want us to think about that today. There's a lot of information out there. And what I would recommend is don't just look for a place to complain. Look for a place to take action. This is about education, motivation, liberation. You got to do something about it. Okay. So please don't just say, I'm mad. I can't believe it. This is an injustice. This is wrong. And you're mad. And all you do is complain on social media, but you're not voting and you're not reaching out to your local congressmen and your local people in your town who could make rules in your town to make sure things like this don't happen. What in the world is a citizen's arrest? I don't even understand the concept of a citizen's arrest. Sounds like the craziest thing in the world to me. What year is this? Is this the Wild Wild West? We're out here making citizens arrests and we're hunting people down and we don't know if we assume they're a suspect. These things are crazy, but these things are real and these things are happening every day. If you are upset about what happened, please, there are places to go where you can sign petitions. There are places you can go to make sure your voice is heard. Make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you're doing your census. Make sure you're doing all the things you can to be socially active more than just complaining about something. Make sure you're doing what you can, at least in your local community, to do something and make sure something like this doesn't happen in your community. So I just wanted to say that today. Check out that information. If you haven't heard that story yet, make sure you look that up. It's worth looking at and paying attention to what's going on with that right now. So thank you guys so much for taking that moment with us. I also want us to make sure we take a moment and thank our sponsor today, Health Matching Account. I've been talking to you guys about Health Matching Account each and every day. We've been talking about Health Matching Account. I want you guys to go to the link HMA Enroll to Save, number 2, HMA Enroll to Save. Check it out. If you're interested in taking more control over your medical benefits, oftentimes we look at medical benefits as something job driven. And when we lose our job, we lose all our benefits, we lose all that we had, we're just out of luck. Well, Health Matching Account is not insurance in and of itself. It is a supplement that allows you to save and double your savings while you're saving for any medical expense, for almost any medical expense, elective or needed procedures, whether it's just a visit to the doctor, a prescription drug, or whether it's a major surgery that's either something that your doctor said you needed or something you're choosing to have, it will be there for you. So I'm so excited to share with you guys again about Health Matching Account. Check it out at hmaenroll2save.com. So without further ado, I want to get into with our guest today. Thank you all who have chimed in. Thank you for your comments so far. Please feel free to make your comments in the comment section. Thank you guys. We will touch base with you. And if I don't get to your comment right away, don't think I've forgotten about you. I see you there. I appreciate it. Keep participating and even participate with each other. You guys can engage with each other, but I want to make sure we give some time to our special guest today who's going to share some information with us. Without further ado, I want to bring in the wonderful Jackie, the educator. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So glad to have you. You are an influencer. Is that right? An
I
influencer.
am. That's what you would call it. Yeah.
What does it even mean to be an influencer? So let's start with square one. What does it mean to be an influencer?
Well, basically, it's just someone who has a presence online and is able to get people to listen to them. That's the simplest definition of it. If you are somebody who can get other people to listen and do what you want them to, you would be considered an influencer.
Love it. Love it. And there's people who are influencers online. There's people who are influencers in their community. And there's people who have the opportunity to take advantage of that. So tell us a little bit about your story. Jackie, first of all, you're Jackie the educator. Tell us a little bit about your background and what is this education piece? Because education is a big part of our show. So tell us how that played into who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so actually, before going into full-time entrepreneurship, I worked at a university and I taught as well as I was the director of diversity. And so a large part of my career, I have my master's in counseling and college student development. That was all my history. That's what I went to school for. I guess I could have saved myself a lot in student loans and went an entrepreneur route
As
earlier.
most people could.
Right. But,
Right.
it was a part of my process. And so it honestly is what started me even as being Jackie the educator as an influencer. So, that's kind of stuck with me now, even though I've really expanded into, a lot more territories.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Education. Why educate? Why is education so important? And why did you keep it as a part of your tagline, a part of who you are? You were in education. You're now an influencer. You're now building a following. You're now doing a lot of other stuff. Why is it worth it to keep it as a part of your brand? Why does that matter so much to you?
Well, I think because I realized that education is literally something that takes place in and outside of school. You don't have to be an in-school instructor in order to be an educator. A lot of influencers are educators and don't realize it. When you're providing people with valuable information, when you're providing them with knowledge and resources, that is the definition of an educator. And so even as I became an entrepreneur and an influencer, I realized that I was still technically an educator. And so, I kept it because I think that it's still relevant and it's part of me and I'm excited to keep it going.
I love it. I love it. We believe here at Lucas Live that education is so important. I started this show a few weeks ago. Me and I talked about this. I believe my mother passed away. And I always want to take a moment to honor her, Miss Vivian Tyndale. And she was such a wonderful person. And she was an educator. She was someone who believed in education. When I was younger, they thought that I couldn't read. I remember I was probably in third grade and they were like, he has a reading problem. He can't read and we're going to have to put him in a special class. And she said, well, he can read. He just doesn't like to. But they said, well, we got to put him in a special class. And that means you have to read with him every night and do these extra things with him at home to help him get better at reading. And she was willing every night to sit with me and read and hold me on her lap and read book after book after book. And that foundation of education has led me here in life because I care so much about learning and now I love learning. For our audience out there, can you speak to them about the importance of education, be it academic, college setting style education, or be it in other realms? What do you think the importance of education is?
I mean, it's honestly the difference between life and death. Knowledge is so key, and we hear the cliche term knowledge is power all the time. But honestly, if you look at the power of YouTube and Google and Wikipedia, you will understand that with those resources and the ability to get information quickly, we have grown as a society. We're able to absorb things and react so much quicker because of the amount of content we've gained in our life. And so honestly, we have to sort through it though. We have a lot of false information and
There's fake news out there.
alternative facts, you know.
Alternative facts.
Fake
Yes.
news, alternative facts. We got
Yes.
all that out there. So we got to sift
Yes.
through it better. But the
Yes.
access to information is just so key. And that is what education is about, having access to information, you know. And honestly, when people can share it in unique ways, like with what you're doing right now, and, you know,
Mhm.
writing books, doing more things online, it's something that it's helpful to the body and everyone that's looking to advance in the kingdom as well.
Absolutely. So, what is your main arm of education? How do you educate your audience?
Yeah, so I do a lot actually. I've built a community. So, as a
Mhm.
former director of diversity, I was an educator in the classroom as well as building community. So, out of the classroom through extracurricular activities. And so, a lot of the
Mhm.
things that I did as a director of diversity was building community. And that building of community helped people to learn and grow because that's ultimately what it's about, right? Learning and growing. And
Absolutely.
so, what I do now is build community on a daily basis with what my organization is, Black Christian Influencers. A lot of people see the external portion, but the internal networking is what it's really about. We connect influencers from all different backgrounds, from attorneys to doctors to artists,
Mhm.
entrepreneurs. All of these influencers are in a community together and they are promoted and encouraged to collaborate and use each other to grow. And honestly, this space has just grown to something bigger than what I could have imagined. And it's
Right.
so cute in the sense that it wasn't intended to be that way. You know, I never thought
Right.
in a million years I would be growing this community online and having people so excited to be a part of it. You know, we have an application process and, you know, we vet people. And it's so cool now to see how much it's grown in just a short period of time.
Fascinating. Fascinating. I am a fan. My wife, I have to admit, my wife, Miss Corinne Marie, she's on here. She says hello. Miss
Hi,
Corinne
Corinne.
Marie Tyndale. She says, she told me about it one night. She said, you know, I started my show and she said, you should reach out to Black Christian influencers and find out if you can get someone to be on the show. And I reached out to you and you got, I didn't even know your name. Okay. I just knew Black Christian influence. I didn't know the massive team behind the brand, right? I didn't know all the people behind the brand. And I reached out to you, you got back to me. Tell me why it's important to get back to people and tell me a little bit about this massive team that you have of people that help you run this huge platform. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we actually are growing really quickly. We've been in existence for about a year and 5 months. That's it, you know, and we
Amazing.
have over 2,000 members. We have over our platforms together, maybe over 30,000. You know, we just
Wow.
started a YouTube page probably like 3 weeks ago, and we already have over 1,000 people following that. And honestly, the team is the community. that's the great
Right.
thing about it, is that the members who become a part of our organization are a part of the actual team in which we grow. So a lot of the people that become members, they want to help out and, be a part of the growth. And so then they become part of the team. So we have
Wow.
a great group of people that have been a part, who are also members serving. And it's similarly to a church. A lot of people do it because they just want to help advance the kingdom. And, it's a lot of people want experience. They want to learn from it. We do all of that. We have interns now. We have people who
That's cool.
obviously have skills, we have our one financial expert who's a part of it, and he's an accountant by day, and he also helps us with our finances. We have
Wow.
praise leaders who are a part of our boards. Some of our board members, like Anthony O'Neill, who's with the Dave Ramsey Show, and Nona
Wow.
Jones, who's the global partnership religious director, I believe, for Facebook. These are our board members.
Wow.
And again, these are volunteered positions. Nobody's getting paid. They just
Right.
believe in the vision. So it's honestly so great to have so many people. But what I never take for granted is work that I do. So even though we
Yes.
have people volunteering, I'm still checking my DMs. I'm still checking the page. I go to
Yes.
that second email that people get filtered to and you never get to see it sometimes. I check those
Wow.
because I want to see who's contacting me. And you'll be surprised. There are people that reach out to you that maybe they don't have a huge following, but they're connected to, P. Diddy or somebody you've never even thought
Right.
of. So I
Right.
despise no one. And honestly, I treat everyone the same who reaches out, and I make sure that, that concept is just kept strong. And it's honestly grown us very quickly. I've made some great connections with people that have really helped us to advance even faster.
Amazing. I am fascinated by it because when I first talked to you, I said, "So, who all is Black Christian influencers?" Like, I thought it was gonna be like you and 20 people. You're like, "Yeah, we got office space and we're at home because of Corona." You were like, "Well, it's me." Then we got volunteers. I was like, "Wow!" Like, to build
Mm-hmm.
something so big, so fast
Yeah.
yourself, and I understand all the respect in the world to all those who stepped up and who are volunteering, who are helping you. But the weight of this is on your shoulders. If it doesn't work, they continue to do whatever they're doing, and
Mm-hmm.
this is your thing. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. So taking
Mm-hmm.
time. So talk to us a little bit about taking time to engage. If you want to be an influencer, it sounds like you're saying you have to take the time to engage people. Even when you start small, you got to take the time to engage people. Tell us about that, because people don't want to take time. They just want to be famous. They want to go viral, and they want everybody to come to them like, "Oh, you're so lucky to meet me." Tell us about
Right.
taking the time to engage people.
Yeah, honestly, it's about your goals. People don't understand that if your goal is just to have a whole bunch of followers, you can buy that. Like, people got
Right.
apps, you got people out there who will give you followers. But if
Right.
your goal is to actually have engagement with people and to actually be able to motivate people and move people to eventually maybe buy a product, or listen to your podcast or view your show or come to your events, you're going to have to develop relationships for people to be invested with you. And for me, that's like 101. Before I even got into
Mhm.
this social media thing, I understood that there has to be an exchange of investment with people for them to do what you want. You need to give them something in return. And so for us, being engaged with people is honestly what makes us stand out the most. Like, we respond to people who send us messages, we reply, we make sure we go through your stories, we look at your pictures that you
Wow.
post, and we are heavily involved in what you're doing, and we care. Like, I feel like people can tell that we care and we aren't just doing it just because. I make sure that
Yes.
even the team who responds to people, they know that, hey, you need to care about what these people post. If it's something that you're just doing to get numbers and to make sure people see you, then don't do it. Like, we want it to be real. And so for me, making sure that it's genuine and it's real has been amazing, because honestly, it's been showing, and it's a part of why we've grown so quickly. I can't explain it any other way outside of that, having genuine interactions and then just being consistent. All of that together, along with God kind of leading the way, will make it just grow
Sure.
really, really quickly.
That's incredible. it's a goal so many people have. I see people on here excited about that and that information, talking about the importance. Thank you, Sharice, for being here as always on the show. She's a loyal fan. She said networking is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question here I want to get to, if you don't mind. Damon Thomas says, Jackie, I'm in Virginia. How can you help us outside of your realm to educate or influence others? I'm a GM with a master's also. I have a lot of young black men that I'm in charge of. What can he do to grow his influence and impact even with the young men that he's working with every day?
Yeah, I think meeting them where they are is important. If it's not social media, then text messaging, something on the phone, because people have their phones all the
All the
time.
time,
And
yes.
if you can reach them where they are, you can't always call people, especially if they're younger. They're very non-receptive to talking, but
Right.
they can move those fingers really quickly. So even if it's
Yeah.
just a, hey, how you're doing? How's your day going? What are you up to? Those little touch points mean a lot. Like, you'll be surprised at how far a how's it going is, because you very seldom, honestly, in this day and age, get people who are genuinely caring about what happened during your day. Everybody just
Right.
wants you to hear about them. I want you to see about me, look at me, and it's never even about, hey, how are you feeling today? What was going on with you today? Even if it's getting a one word response back, I'm promising you that that will mean a lot to that young person. So using your influence where they are is going to be important, and don't necessarily be affected by how they respond back. Just know that putting those touch points out there is going to be received in the long haul, and they'll think of you when they have an issue or problem.
Amazing advice. Thank you so much. And I know that answered a question for somebody else out there who didn't want to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to throw your questions in the comment section. We'll get to them if we can. We certainly want to hear from you. And Jackie, I think it's so big that you said meeting people where they are, right? Doing
Yeah,
what it takes. And then it's not, you can't gauge your success based on their response, right?
that's it. That
So
is it.
help
Yeah.
us understand that from a social media perspective, even. I'm guessing you've posted a thing or two that barely got any response. I don't know when it was. Maybe it was 20 years ago, or maybe it was recent. I don't know. But tell us about that, because a lot of us are so emotionally tied to our posts that when we post something,
Mm-hmm.
it meant something. We just had a baby. We didn't just post something. That was I gave you my deepest thought. And then one
Yeah.
person kind of liked it, and one person put a laughing face, and we're like, what? So what do we do with that? Tell us about that.
Honestly, it's a part of the game. Like, if you are going to be an influencer, you just have to prepare yourself for people not being invested in what you're doing, especially right away, and not take it personally. Like, for me, I used to take posts personally because I wanted a response from it, right? Like, I spent like 30 minutes thinking of this great
Right?
caption, and I filtered this picture just right.
Right?
Now I'm
Yes.
posting it and nobody responds. Well, that means if you're affected by that, you're taking it personally. And now
Mm.
it's going to come out in your next few posts, because you're going to be throwing off on people about how people not
Unfollowing
responding.
everybody. Right. I'm unfriending
Right?
everybody this year, 2020, just like I did
Right.
last year. Like, we
I'm
all still here
updating my
though.
list. Everybody getting cut off. I'm purging
Right.
my followers.
Right. It's like I didn't even notice. Like, can I get cut? Because I'm sick of this nonsense. Like, why do I keep making the cut? Right. So we
Exactly.
have to
And
be
honestly,
unaffected by it.
you have to be unaffected by it. And then you also have to pay attention to what people are affected by. If you're putting
Mhm.
out content that they can relate to, track that, see what they like the most. I always tell people who are part of BCI to look at their insights. And so I usually do these one-on-one call with members, and we go through their
Mm.
page to try to see how we can grow and make them better at what they do. And so the
Wow.
first thing I tell them to do is go look at those insights. A lot of people tell me, what insights? I'm like, okay, we
Right.
got we
Are
got a
you saying
problem.
on all social media? Break that down a little bit for us, because people don't know what the insights are. And are you talking
Mm-hmm.
about, I mean, Twitter hasn't, I mean, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so most post, if it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they have what's called insights that you can drill into. Usually you might have to have a feature activated for you to see that, but you can see if it's a business account on Facebook, if it is a creator or business account on Instagram, same thing for Twitter, you can click on your post and see how far it reached. You can also see how many people interacted with it as far as like bookmarking it or send it to other people. And that information is what's going to show you what people relate to and what they like. So based off of seeing what they like, man, about 30 people shared what I posted on this day versus what I posted on the other day, only one person shared. That's a good indicator that the piece that has more shares is more valuable to your audience, and you should create more content like that versus trying to create things that they weren't relating to. So paying attention to the trends is important. And again, having access to your insights to see that is going to be really important as well.
So are you saying that people should sell out to their audience? Are you saying we should pander? Like my audience likes, some girls get caught up in, they like to see me with, pose in certain ways, or a guy might say things about all men are dogs. The man that says that gets all the love. Talk to us about that, because some people are very concerned, and maybe you're telling us just to pander to the audience and not follow the leading of God or our mission or our purpose. Help us understand that.
Girl, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry I said girl because I was like, yeah, girl, let me tell you.
Girl, listen.
Listen, I'm telling you, though, that it is so important that you don't pander, but you pay attention. I make sure that I give information that people find valuable, but then I also give information that's very important to me. For instance, with what just happened with the shooting of the young man, that's important and relevant to me. So whether people like it or not, I'm going to share it. So you kind of have to have a pendulum inside of you that says, hey, this is needed to share whether people like it or not. And this is something that I know my audience likes. So I'm going to use it every now and then, because you want to give a nice mixture of things that will keep people engaged. You can't always throw down their face things that you want and they aren't caring about, right? Because then you're going to lose your audience and you're not going to have anyone to talk to. But you can't just be so closed-minded and just, so interested in pleasing people that you never do what is needed as well, and what God tells you to put out there. So it's a balance. It's honestly difficult to do sometimes, but it's doable. You just have to know how to do it both ways, I guess, for me is the easiest way to say it.
Hey, listen, I called you out. You answered great. I mean, I just wanted to know.
Good.
I was concerned that you were telling us to pander, but that's not what you're saying. Yes, you need to pay attention to the statistics. What is your goals? If your goal is just to have this hobby page, or you just like to spout your thoughts and feelings, cool. Spout your thoughts and feelings, whatever comes to your mind, throw it out there. But if you're trying to grow a following, if you're trying to be an influencer, if you're trying to grow a business, if you're trying to do something like that, you need to be conscious, because you better believe Nike's conscious and Pepsi's conscious. And everybody else is conscious who's doing the business. They are paying attention to what is popular and what people want to hear and what people want to know. And they are speaking in that vein. Correct? Absolutely.
They are creating content that appeals to you. I mean, you even have like Amazon and all of those people online that they see your interactions online. They see what you're Googling and searching, and they want to put that in front of you. Why? Because that's smart promotion, right? That's smart with getting your attention and getting you to their site. Because then once you're there, they'll put things that you weren't thinking of. Like, I didn't even think I needed a toaster now, but it's at the top of the page, right?
I might need a toaster. I might
need a toaster, right?
I like toast a lot.
You could do that. But that's one of the genius things with making sure that you're doing the balance, right? Of giving people what they want, but then also putting in the things that they need, that you feel they should be having as well.
That's so good. Now let's talk about a niche, right? A niche, whatever you want to call it.
right.
They say it different on Shark Tank. So, you know what I'm saying? That's where I get my lingo from, the Shark Tank. I don't know. So you are Black Christian influencers. Can we get any more specific here? I mean, we're narrowing it down. I mean, unless you was Black Christian women with kids influencers. I mean, what's up, right? So how do you do that? Why do you do that? You just alienated half the world. We're a small, especially in the United States, we're such a small percent of the population. What's wrong with you? Why?
Right? Am I crazy or am
Are
I
you
genius?
crazy?
I don't know,
I,
right?
I don't know.
I
Tell us.
think
Are
for
you? What's up?
me, it's the target that matters. And sometimes we get so caught up in trying to appeal to everybody that we lose anybody. We can't
Whew.
do that. We have to be targeted. And the more targeted you can be, the better. And honestly, when I created Black Christian influencers, if you look at the statistical data, people of color are probably the biggest consumers in the world, right? And then you have
Mm.
Christians, which again is one of the largest religious populations. So when
Ooh.
you put those together, you probably are a larger audience than you think. And so for
Wow.
me, it was a smart decision to target specifically to that, but then also leaving it open because now I don't just target Black Christian apostolics, Black Christian Catholics.
Okay.
No,
Baptist.
it's
Right. Back.
right.
Right.
Baptists, we are open to all realms of Christianity, and in that sense, people of color, we're all over, man. We're a huge population and consumers in the world, so we have to use that power and customize our products to people so that we can have more things that relate to us.
I love it. So tell us a little bit more about that. When it comes to Black Christian influencers, is like Black entertainment television. I've heard some of my white friends say, "How come y'all get a channel? How come y'all get a month?" Now I know better than that, but how come y'all get 28 days in the middle of the year, at the beginning of the year when nobody's paying attention when it's cold? But anyway, um,
Yeah.
but I mean, would it is white Christian influencers a thing? Should that be okay? Black Christian, why is it fair and why is it not racist that you call yourself Black Christian influencers, like you are not allowing anybody? I mean, you're discriminating against the rest of the world. What do you say to the person who says that?
Because the rest of the world is white Christian influencers. It's made up, it's set up to be that. That's how it was
Wow.
created. That is the default setting. So to say, hey, why does the default
Woo.
setting not have options is silly. And so I tell people all the time
Wow.
that we are customized settings because the default does not fit us. And so we have to be specific with how we represent.
Woo, almost
It's
pushed
that
my
simple.
girl. Girl, what are you talking about? This is crazy. Okay, so that is so important. I love, see,
Mhm.
this is why education is important, okay? Because you
Fundamental.
just stated that in an educated manner. We could go out here fussing and fighting and marching and stomping. Nothing against marching, nothing against, but and
Absolutely.
never have the words to articulate why this makes sense.
Hmm.
And you just put it so well. It's the default. Everything else is the default setting. White Christian
Absolutely.
influence, white everything is the default. So are you upset at that? Is that so when you look at Black Christian influencers, does this come from a place of animosity? Where does it come from for you? I want to speak to this to anybody out there looking to go into this niche and to those out there who are watching who are not black. I got lots of white friends, right? I got plenty of people who I love who are not black, and I don't want them to feel like they can't watch this episode, they can't be down
Yeah.
with this. Where do you stand with that? Why did you do this? Is it out of animosity or something, or why did you make it this way?
Yeah, no, honestly, I have so many white friends that it's not even funny. And people listen to me and they be like, okay, you just sound like you don't fit in. You're not representing. I've had all of that. But
Right.
the fact of the matter is that I recognize that we have to have our own thing because
Mm.
just like we have to have our own makeup color, our own stocking color, our own,
Wow.
hair products, it fits us and it should
Yes.
not make the other people feel unwanted or
Mm.
undesired. It's just a matter
Wow.
of having a space that fits us well. And you can come into this space, maybe you like to see and hear about it and learn from it. That is what we
Yes.
want. That's encouraged. We want you to do that. But again, the space is needed because you have people that need to connect and need to know because they are that. And so
Wow.
the fact that you want to be a part of it and listen is so much better. Like, I love advocates of Black Christian influencers, and we have a lot of them. We have a lot of people who are not Black, and they want to be advocates for us because they recognize that we need to have a voice, and they
Wow.
promote it, they share it. And for me, that's the
That's
best,
whew, that's right. That
that's
feels good.
ideal because that is
Right.
kingdom work right there. When you
Yes.
can move and do things for other people, knowing that they have been marginalized or have not been adequately highlighted, and you start to use your voice in a way that will share them and uplift them, now you're in the vein of how it means, what it means to be a Christian. And that's what we want. We want people to use this as a network, even people who are not of color, to use it to be intentionally diverse, to intentionally get information to the people that need to have it. And that's what it's about.
I love it. I love it, and so does our audience. You guys, if you guys are
Yeah.
loving this, please hit the hearts. If you're watching on Facebook, hit those hearts, hit those likes. If you're watching it on Periscope, those hearts make it go out to more people. Twitter says, oh, people are watching this, they're enjoying it. Make sure you're hitting those hearts. Make sure you're sharing this. Make sure you're liking this on YouTube. Wherever you're consuming this, liking, hitting those likes on LinkedIn. Make sure you're showing some love for this content because that's what's going to get this out to more people. Again, if you're watching this and you haven't hit the share yet, what are you waiting for? What are you afraid of? Hit the share button. Maybe you shared our broadcast yesterday and you're like, people are going to think I'm crazy because I share Lucas Live every day. They're not going to think you're crazy. They're going to think you care about education, motivation, liberation, and somebody who has not seen or heard this content is going to thank you because it could change the course of their life. So thank you, audience, so much for saying that. Dave Woods here said the power of using data to connect better with your audience. He's celebrating that. My wife is clapping. Our friend Elisa is clapping in the comments. People are enjoying this. This is really
Good.
good. This is really, really good. So let's talk a little bit. Let's rewind back a little bit to you and your story. Like, where did little Jasmine come from, and how did you become to? I think to us who are watching, we're like, this lady is like a powerhouse. Like, she knows her stuff. She knows what she's talking about. She's an educated woman, and people are excited to hear you. But where did you come from, and could you share some adversity maybe that shaped you to be the person that you are today?
Absolutely. And I mean, for me, being on the scene, literally busting on it about a year ago, it's just so crazy to me that we've grown this quickly. I was stuck in an office. I was at a university doing things for students, working with student activities and creating events.
Mhm.
I wasn't thinking about sharing my voice with a larger population. But
Wow.
again, it was honestly the fact that I believe I went through some things before I became passionate about ministry that really shaped me into who I am today. So I tell my testimony to people often that before I became focused on ministry like I am today, I was in a relationship with someone who had severe PTSD. And
Mm.
it became so unstable and just unsafe to be in that I had to make a choice. I prayed to God and I said, God, you know that it's going to be difficult for me to leave this person because I love them. I care about them, but I know that this is not what you want me to deal with. I know you don't want me to be in this environment. And,
Mm-mm.
from there, God literally saved me out of a situation where I didn't see a way out. I had no
Wow.
clue on how I would be able to get from under someone who I have just engraved my whole life with. At the time,
Mm.
I was just going to school and he was the main provider. I had two kids, and it was just so many things that made me feel stuck. Like I didn't have a choice but to stay in the situation. And then literally, God took this position that I got at the university. I didn't even apply for it. Like I honestly just say, okay, God, if you want me to leave, then I'm going to need income that's sustainable for me and two kids. I'm going to need a place. I'm going to need to be uprooted, to a different space so that, I can't have access
Wow.
to this person anymore. And literally someone back from when I was in college reached out to me and said, hey, I think this position would be good for you. It's not even published yet, but I think you would do good in this position. Let me send it to you. And, honestly, the rest is history. I was uprooted. They paid for my traveling costs, my
Moving
moving van,
expenses.
all,
Wow.
all the
Woo.
expenses paid. And
Yes.
honestly, I was able to move and provide for my children during that time that I was working there. And I never would have done that if God did not save me. Like when I say
Wow.
save, I mean in the literal sense,
Literal
saved
sense
my life,
saved you out of.
straight snatched me,
Woo.
right?
Yes. Yes.
And so from there, it's history. I worked at the university, and then God honestly from there called me to do entrepreneurship full time. And here I am today, just doing some things that haven't been done before.
Wow. First of all, thank you so much for sharing that. It's important for people to know, to be liberated, they need to realize that somebody else had been bound before. Somebody who they see as free, they need to know, well, I was bound too. I was bound in this horrible relationship. Person who was suffering severely from PTSD. I can't imagine what kind of behaviors or what that may have led to, but I'm going to guess it was some things that were scary and ugly and not good for you and your children.
Absolutely.
And you prayed, you trusted God, you said, God, only you can deliver me. And God is not a God of, God is not just the God of the Bible of, I used to do this stuff for people. He's still delivering his people from stuff.
Still today. Yeah. Still doing it.
People.
Absolutely.
Still delivering.
Miracles.
So for you,
honestly,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying miracles still happen. And some people don't think that it's still happening today, but there are miracles all around you. And sometimes it's the person right next to you that has a miracle.
Yeah. You just didn't know it. You just didn't ask.
Yep.
I'm so grateful for that testimony. So how long have you been in ministry? Because you're in ministry, or you're a minister, you tell us a little bit about your history in ministry. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I'm a PK. My dad is a pastor.
Okay.
And so I grew up in ministry. I strayed away, after going to college and then getting married and going to school. I wanted to do my own thing. I didn't really want to be associated as a church person or a minister. I go to church, but I'm not going to be in the church. I'll leave that to those people in the pulpit, right?
Right.
And so honestly, it was not until about maybe 4 years ago, after leaving that situation in the marriage that I was in, that I came back to my father's church and began to help in ministry. I was the minister of music. I still am there, the minister of music. And so I was literally working there. And that is where, all of my foundation came back of using my gifts for Christ. And so, I was singing and I was doing the music, playing the keyboard. And then from there, I went on to offer free counseling services in the neighborhood to people that were affected by the poverty that's so prevalent in 63rd and Wood in Chicago. And honestly, everything God told me to do and every skill that I had a counseling background. So I used that, I obviously sang, so I used that. And then God opened up this door for BCI after I did the things that he told me to do, so honestly, ministry evolves as you listen. He gives you more, and that is what it's about. When you talk about the talents and the people who went off with what they had and then they multiplied it, that is exactly what God is still doing today. He wants you to multiply the talents he's given you, and then he'll give you more. He'll take from the other person and give it to you because you have been a good steward of it. And, I believe that God keeps doing that. And I tell people, like, I don't know how much more he could put on my plate, but I'll take it, I'll take it, because obviously it's okay. Nobody else want to do it. I'll do it, because it's needed, obviously, and he will give you the strength to do it. So, honestly, BCI is now what I'm doing as a minister full time. I'm an ordained minister as well. But again, I don't preach in pulpits very often. I do preach this Sunday, but outside of that, I don't preach very often.
Live somewhere? Can we check you out? Where will it be? Come on now. Don't try to hide. All
right. Lord.
Okay,
but honestly, I look at ministry as being so just out of the box. And for me, preaching on the pulpit is only 1% of ministry. So I try so hard to expand it and make it bigger than what we've seen before.
You just don't know. When we first talked some days ago, you were saying things and I was like, I could not agree more. And saying that I've been in ministry since I was 19 years old. I preached my trial sermon. And let me tell you, I didn't even know what a trial sermon was. I don't even like the word trial. Trial?
Yeah.
I gotta try out? I ain't trying out. Because my first thing was, I didn't want to do this anyway. I was called to do this. I didn't make this up. I didn't wake up like, oh, let me go preach. I was like, I was called to do it. I thank God for it. And I love serving God. I love preaching his word and teaching people. But I wasn't looking to be that guy. Still to this day, this many 19 years later, whatever it is, I still am not looking to be that guy. I enjoy ministry. I enjoy preaching, but I see it as being so much more than the pulpit. The pulpit is
Absolutely.
this place where we hope the people will come. Please come into my building and come on in, and I hope you'll sit down and try not to cough, right? Now God is
Right.
shaking things up. Talk to us right now about what you see. What are your thoughts on what's going on with church and corona and a new way of doing ministry? What's happening right now?
I feel like he had enough. He was fed up. He was like,
Mm,
I've been trying to tell you guys to do it differently, and y'all don't
wow.
listen. So I'm just gonna shake it all up for you
Woo.
guys. So you don't have a choice but to do it. You can't go to your church building no more. You
Mm,
have to be inventive. You have to be innovative with ministry now. And I think it's great. I mean,
yes.
pastors that never have even looked to be online are now looking at how they can expand their reach, and they're seeing now that you can interact outside of Sunday. Like, whoa,
Wow.
there are more
What?
days in the week.
What? Wednesday, maybe Tuesday Bible study, but
Wednesday,
there's more than
there's a
that.
Tuesday, there's a Thursday,
What?
there's a
Look at
Saturday.
Angel. I mean,
What?
what?
You
This is
know, honestly,
crazy.
I think it's so good though. I'm overly excited about the fact that ministers now are being pushed in the right direction. They should have been doing this already. But God,
Yes.
again, he was like, okay, y'all don't want to do it on your own. Cool. I'm just going to make it so you ain't got no choice. And we're seeing some of the most innovative things happen in regards to ministry during this time that you've
Yes.
never seen before. And so to me, this is a revival. People probably don't
Yes.
see it like that, and maybe they were waiting for those tents to pop back up when they think about the revival that's coming to the land. But I'm
Right.
telling you that this is the new revival.
Woo.
Like, you're not gonna see those
It's
pitch
being
tents that
televised. The
were hot.
revolution is being televised. It's
It's
on the internet.
televised, right?
Yes. It's right here.
Yes,
Oh, I
and
love
that's
that.
what this is. So I'm excited about it now, honestly.
I love it. I couldn't agree more. Once again, absolutely,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, if you can agree, make a comment, hit those hearts, show some love. I think it's time. And it's not about. I don't want to be overly judgmental of the old way, but God told me months ago. We were having a leadership meeting at our church, and that morning, God told me somehow you have to tell everybody at the church when I'm an associate pastor and things that if we keep doing business as usual, the church is going to die. Not just our
Yep.
church, but the church as we know it is going to die. God said it to me just as plain as that. Like, it's going to die. If you don't start shifting stuff around, if you don't stop acting like that building is the church, if you don't open up and let somebody do something different and have some more fun and loosen up and stop being so stiff that somebody can't walk in with a Starbucks cup or you got to kick them out or whatever it is.
Right.
I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah.
if we don't
Yeah.
shift, the church is going to die with the people who established that old way of doing church. And those buildings are going to be gone and all that old stuff is going to be gone because the next generation, they're not even coming. They're not coming. They weren't going to church anyway. So what
They
happened
stopped.
was it
Yeah.
looks like God shifted it to where now church comes to them.
You got no
Would you agree?
excuse.
Tell us about that.
That's so true. I agree. We got no excuse. We are reaching the people where they are. And
Yes.
that is what we should have been doing. But a lot of us were so stubborn, so stuck
Yes.
in our ways that we could not let go of that pulpit. Now, either you stay in that pulpit and you talk to yourself, or you get online. Those are your options.
Talk to yourself if you want with your mask on, if you
If
wanna.
you want to, if you
Right?
yeah, or
That's
you
not
can get
it.
with it and come to where the people are. And so a lot of people are doing it, and I'm excited. I watch these lives now with popcorn, like, and
Right.
see what's going on. Like,
You'll see, right. And you can see so many different pastors and ministers and people doing
yeah.
great work and things like that. What would you say to someone who has some ability with online, social media, live streaming, maybe? How would you suggest somebody go about helping their church? Because there are a lot of pastors and men and women in ministry who just don't have they're not tech savvy. They didn't grow up in this. What would you tell them to do about helping their pastor and their church to continue to do their work in this time?
Yeah, I mean, you have to help them with the research. I mean, they obviously aren't as privy to Google as we are, but we all know that a good Google search can go a long way. I
Yes.
mean, type in great cameras to use for online streaming, type in,
Yes.
ways to use online Facebook, and anything that you want to type in between
Right.
YouTube and Google, you can get a tutorial for it. I mean, I learned how to
Yes.
change the oil on my car just by
Wow.
looking at a tutorial.
What? Don't tell
Like,
my wife. I didn't know that was on there. My page was blocked on mine. All
That's
right,
funny.
honey. My wife
Yeah,
is
like
watching.
even for women, you can say women changing their own car or oil, like it you'll
Right.
see women doing it, and it's so many different ways for us to get how to that it's no reason for us not to. So I think for us, we have to do it. We got to get them on
Ooh.
the internet, okay?
So many ways to find out how to. There's no excuse not to. That's deep. That's
Right?
deep. I mean, there's no excuse not to. So we got to get them on
None.
there. We have to help them look it up. We have to do some of
Mhm.
the work to keep these ministries alive and keep these things going. So for
Absolutely.
you in doing music, coffee shop, tell us a little bit about some of the things that you were doing with church even before all this hit.
Yeah, honestly, I was building a counseling cafe, is what I
Okay,
called it.
yeah.
Before this whole BCI thing took off, I was waiting for contractors because we were building the space, and waiting on contractors is a full-time job. Like, seriously.
Right.
I would be
Right.
doing that so often that I developed building this brand in my pastime. So the real ministry
Mm,
that I was focused on was creating this space for people within the Chicagoland area to come and have some free counseling services. I coordinated with some local universities to get some of their students who were in counseling, some of their alumni to come back and, do some volunteer work for free. And so we've been coordinating that with a library for about a year. And so
mm.
the fact that that concept was working is what led us to want to do it in like a real setting of our own. And so the counseling cafe, we have just finished the construction before this corona happened, but we're set to open as soon as the world opens back up,
Awesome. Awesome. So as soon as the world opens back up, you will be back alive, back at it, doing it again. That is
Yeah,
so great.
yeah.
That is awesome. That is awesome. To our viewers out there who are watching, thank you guys so much for continuing to stick with us. I understand that there was something that happened with Facebook for some people. You may have gotten kicked. Hey, Facebook and Instagram and these platforms are being overwhelmed with live videos. So we thank you guys for being flexible. If it kicks you out at any
Hmm.
time, jump back in. It seems that YouTube is very stable. So if you go to YouTube at Lucas Tyndale, you can check this out. Or on Periscope or LinkedIn. But if you come back on Lucas Tyndale on Facebook or Lucas Live Media, hopefully that's working for you. I thank you guys so much who, even through adversity, you get back with us and you continue
Yes.
to engage. This is great content. These are things we're going to want to know because we don't know what God has in store for us. And sometimes the little lesson along the way, the little podcast that you heard, whatever it is the thing that you needed 2 months from now, 2 years from now. You'll be saying, I remember that I heard it on Lucas Tyndale Live. So thank you guys so much. Jackie, I want to talk to you a little bit about building a YouTube following. Again, you just kicked this thing off. I think you just had some, I mean, I don't know what's going on, but I'm trying to grow my following, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I don't know if y'all are watching and you're part of the Lucas Live Inner Circle and all that cute stuff, but you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel. I just want to say it with my eyes in the camera that I would appreciate if you would please subscribe to my. Jackie, I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but please, can you help a brother out? Can you tell me
That's it.
how
That's
did you
it.
do it?
It's hard, man. YouTube is a very tough one to crack.
Yeah.
And it's doable though. I think for people who have audiences on other platforms, you need to start there. I'm giving away our next video. We have some
All
videos
right.
coming up that are going to share these strategies and tips. I just created one probably about an hour ago on how to expand your Instagram following to 10K, right? But
Wow.
one of the tips I will be giving soon is how to expand your YouTube channel. We just started ours maybe like 3 weeks ago, and our first video before it even premiered, we had over 1,000 people subscribed,
That's
right?
what
And
I
our very
thought.
first video
Yes.
premiered, and we have over 2K views. How is that
Wow.
possible? It's possible because we were able to utilize, I'm going to give you the most important tip right now, our current audiences. You write it down, you got your
Let me write this down. I need to get this one. All right. What's that? Utilize because I'm having some problems.
current
Utilize
audiences,
current
current
audience.
people
Okay.
that follow you, not just on YouTube, but I'm talking about Facebook, on Instagram. you probably have over 100 followers on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
If you do, you
Yep.
can have over 100 followers on YouTube.
Right.
Again, it's a matter of your outreach. How are you connecting with these people? For me and my team, as for me and my team,
That's
we
for me in
reached
my
out to
house.
every
We will serve the Lord
we
on
we
YouTube.
we did. We connected with
Yes.
every single person in our audience. If we posted something, we connected with every single person that liked that post that was related to our YouTube channel. And we said, "Hey, thanks for liking that post. Guess what? We have our own YouTube channel. Here's the link. Go subscribe." And just like that, ask and it shall be given. Seek and ye
Wow.
shall find. We found our
Wow.
followers, and obviously with the platform over 20K, we have lots of room to grow.
Sure. That's incredible. That is incredible. I know the struggle of growing. I'm very blessed. Thank you, Lucas Live audience. My YouTube channel grew from 70 subscribers for years to I'm almost at 200 in the last 2 weeks.
That's good. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I'm so
What
grateful to
strategies have
everybody
you
who
been using?
subscribed.
Maybe you can share us
Okay,
some.
see what I do, because I know all the sweet secrets, right? So what I do is I harass people and I burn them on the show. I go live every minute of every day. They're like, here you go again. If I don't just let me subscribe, so he'll shut up and stop going live. But we're doing a lot of fun stuff, and this show has just been
Yeah.
so much fun. And we had a lady on named Dr. Shamika Dean, and she talked about the power of going live and live video and how that draws a crowd, and that's been really helpful to us. And we've done some fun stuff. We've done virtual game night
Yeah.
multiple times. That gets lots of views on YouTube and every platform. People love virtual game night. You can see my
Yeah.
personality is a little crazy, so we act a little crazy. We have a little fun. Even though we're
Yeah.
Christians, we still have us a good time
We
on game
should.
night, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
I
that's
love
okay.
that.
So we're doing that. We're doing concerts. We have a live concert coming up this Friday. My good friend Rob Thompson, he goes by the name of Sexy Rob. I have to say that. He makes me, when I see him on the street, though, I don't call him Sexy Rob. I just call him
Sexy
Rob.
Rob.
I'll be like, hey, Sexy Rob. Sexy Rob. People be like, that brother is crazy. So
Oh,
my man
right.
Sexy Rob, he's going to be doing a live concert this Friday. We're going to be doing some giveaways during that. So that's fun. So, just trying to keep the engagement, have some fun is what we've tried to do. But we haven't grown at the rate that you're growing. But I assume you're saying keep plugging away and we'll get there.
Growth is growth. Honestly, people take it as being a negative thing, but even when we were small, I couldn't keep up. Like, you
Right.
should be okay with where you're at, because you should be penetrating those people that are following you so much that you're okay
Yeah.
with being where you are. Like, honestly, I was like, oh my God, I need this to stop growing because I want to connect. You can have over 1,000 followers, but then if you only 10 people are liking your stuff, what's the point? You
Right.
need to be able to keep up with who you have and make sure that
Yes.
those 200 strong people, that you have, a good percentage of those people involved and active and engaged. And I believe that, a lot of the platforms reward that. Once they see that you get it, you get that
Yeah.
it's about engagement, they'll send more people to you. They'll show you more. You'll get further reach because they're like, okay, they get the formula. They aren't just trying to
Yes.
get followers. They're trying to go for engagement. And when
Yes.
I started doing that, I tell you, I couldn't keep up with how often people would start following us because we were just trying to
Wow.
engage with the people that we had.
Wow. I love that. You talked to me about putting some time in each week. Talk to our audience a little bit about putting time in, not to be self-absorbed and say, come to me, come to me, come to me, but going to them and engaging people. Help us with a strategy on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, depending on what you want to grow and how far you want to grow, I would estimate that you put about 70% into networking and actually giving people information as far as like engaging with their content, going into their DM, making sure that you're liking their posts.
Yes.
70% into others, 30%
Mm.
into you. And that,
Wow.
I mean, that formula is probably unheard of. But for me, if you look at our post, if you look at our YouTube page, I put out very little content because we're engaging so much. Like for me, I invested more in engaging than I did in content. Now I'm trying to catch up because, people want to
They
see some
want more.
content.
Yes. Yes.
But,
Right.
I think that formula though of putting more into engaging with people, networking with them, finding out who they are, what they're about, not just asking them to do something for you, but being genuine with wanting to know who they are. That's where I think
Yes.
my counseling background comes into play, because I talk to people in the DM. How are you feeling today? Thank you for following. This is my name, Jackie, the educator. So excited to know you. All of that is just me building conversation and building a relationship with people. So when I do put something out that I want them to do, I ain't even got to ask. They already
Yeah.
doing it because they're already
Yes.
so invested in the relationship that you don't have to really push and prime them to do something for you.
Amazing. I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I reached out to her. It was the same night. I mean, I reached out. I'm a all nighter now. To build the business. I've been up till 3 in the morning every night, and I get back up in the morning and keep going.
Same
Um,
here.
that's how you do it when you're trying to build
That's it.
something. That's the only way to do it. You got to use every hour. You need like
Yep.
18 of them at least to get through the day.
Pretty much,
So
right.
I messaged her, and I didn't know her name. I said, "Hey, Black Christian influencer." I don't even know what I said. I said, I recently started this thing, and I'm looking to have you on my show. I mean, that's incredible to take time out. I mean, this takes some time. There was a little time of prep before the show. You and I had to get together. We talked on the phone the other day. We've gone back and forth with emails. You had to send me pictures and other things. That is a lot to be on a 1 hour show to do. And you got another show, another podcast or something tonight. But you're telling us all of that is worth it.
All of it is worth it. Every interaction, every piece of engagement is worth it to me. And I put the time in for it. A lot of it is now on autopilot. When people ask me to be a part of things, like I got my bio and picture ready. So before you
Yes.
ask, I really don't have to go far,
Right.
because I do it so often. And I
Yeah.
like investing in people, because I remember when even BCI first got started, there would be people that I would reach out to wanting to have them in, our space and to use them for different things, and they were so unavailable, and that irked me to the 15th degree. Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like, I really want to help you, and how can you help each other with people who don't respond and aren't interested? And so for me, I try my hardest when I am available to make myself available so that people can, pay it forward, because I'm going to ask to interview Oprah one day, and I
I
want her
love it.
to look at me and say, yeah, I'll do that for you.
Yep.
Like, but it's going
Yep.
to come from me sewing into everything else and to everybody else how I want to be sewed into.
I have to think of another word. I keep saying amazing. Wow. You are blowing me away. I love it so much. I'm like, this is just great. I am not one that's often speechless. I don't know if you could tell. I'm not. I mean, I could probably just sit here and, talk for an hour, but
Yeah.
you're leaving me speechless. This is so good. I'm going to read some of the comments. We want to jump in with our Lucas Live, the livest audience in the land here. Keena Wood said, I need that 10K Instagram video. It's coming out.
It's
So where do
coming.
they follow? What's your YouTube page called? Is it Black Christian Influencer? Is it
It's
Jackie
Black
the
Christian
Educator?
influencers. Yep. Black
Okay.
Christian influencers is where we're going to be posting all those videos. We have one that's opening up this Friday, and I believe
Yes.
it's on how to convert how to convert followers into customers. So that one's opening up this
Woo.
Friday, and then the next one, the next Friday will be the 10K Instagram. So get ready.
Make sure you guys are checking out Black Christian Influencers. Look them up on multiple platforms. Now, some platforms there is a process, an application process to become a part, because it's not just join the club, follow us, and look at us. There's actually networking going on. There's actually things going on in there. So before I let you go, we'll just go a few more minutes. I do want to talk about a little bit more about the intentional networking that you have going on in your groups. But first, let me get to a few more of these comments. Ebony Akron, our good friend on the show, great friend to the show, said, great strategy. She said 70% into others. She caught that, taking note of that. 70%. That is craziness. We just want you to know, nobody else has said that. You heard it here first. That makes no sense, but it makes all the sense in the world. Those are kingdom principles. Right?
All kingdom.
It's
All kingdom.
sowing, and God will give the increase, but you got to sow into other people.
Absolutely.
So good. So good. Keena Woods, our good friend, she's going to be on the show. Her and her husband, Dave, she is the owner of Sugar Babies cookie. I want to say cookie
Ooh.
company. She makes some amazing, amazing cookies. She lives in the Florida area. She's from the Ohio area. When she drives from Florida to Ohio, I think people chase her down and she sells cookies on the side of the road. I don't know, but her cookies are something special, moist and soft in the middle. Just
You're making me hungry.
amazing. Oh, they are just amazing, amazing cookies. They have amazing testimony, amazing Christian couple. Excited to have them on the show. She said, "Wow, I have focused so much on posting my own content that I haven't spent as much time engaging my followers' posts." That is a revelation for a lot of people today.
It's going to change it.
So,
It's going to change the game for you. You're going to notice a big difference after a couple of weeks, not just with the godly principles, those happen, but with your own Instagram following, you will notice that you're in their post, you're in their timeline a lot more because you've engaged with theirs. Who knew, right?
smart. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? That is so cool. It's like going to a networking event and you keep showing up in the pictures and you're on the poster for the thing, and they're like,
Right,
"You must do
right.
all the stuff for that. You must be a supporter of that."
Exactly.
That's so good. So before we go, if you could tell us a little bit about the strategy and the purpose and the plan of Black Christian Influencers. Again, it's not just growing a following to grow a following. It's not just growing a following to sell them something, although that may be a part of it. Tell us what the real goal is, and then tell us a little bit about how you try to take it offline to make some other events happen.
Yeah, so I mean, the goal is honestly just to equip and empower kingdom builders to do something more. Like, honestly, we have so many people that are doing great things, but until we come together, which is what we're about, it's only going to be mediocre. Like,
Yeah.
us, we want to bring people together so you can see what they're doing and they can see what you're doing. And then we can bridge the gaps, right? You know, honestly, we're
Yes.
so disconnected that we miss a lot of the opportunities to make things bigger. When you look at people like Beyonce and her collaboration with this one,
Me- uh,
the
the
what's
Megan,
that called?
the
Megan
Megan the
Stallion.
Stallion. Yes.
Right,
See,
right. What
us
did she
Christians,
do?
we were trying to act like we didn't know it. I was like, I don't know.
Y'all
That
know.
wasn't on Kurt Franklin's a Sirius XM station. What do you mean? Okay, the Savage.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
I'm
Okay.
a savage. Everybody
Yeah,
was
yeah,
doing
we
it.
know
Y'all
you
seen it.
can. Something we seen it. We seen the TikTok. We seen something.
Right.
Right.
But what
Right.
did Beyonce do with that, right? She took something that was popular and she collaborated to make it even more. She could have been on her
Yes.
own and created another Savage song, but she
Right.
collaborated. And, you know, that's what we have to do as Christians. We have to be more open to collaboration. And that is a principle that will help you grow. And with our group, Black Christian Influencers, we have collaboration challenges. We have
Wow.
specifically private groups that encourages other members to use each other on their podcasts, on their blogs, on their
Cool.
YouTube pages. We do that so that we can make sure we build our own up. So if you're part of BCI, you're the family, right? And so we help each other. That's what we're about. We even follow and support each other because sometimes, like you
Yes.
said, it's hard to get people to like your post. It's hard to get people to engage with it. But if you have
Yes.
somebody else who knows your struggle, right, you got some people who are probably going to engage with you. And so that's what it's about. That's what BCI does. And so we have an application process that we use to filter to make sure we have people that are identifying with what we're doing and are also willing to learn and grow. And,
Right.
you know, once they meet those criteria, we invite them in, they participate. We have weekly call sessions that I do with them. I make myself available. So literally I am on the phone or in interviews all
Wow.
day. You know, so all of our members, they get access to me or a member of my team to have these strategy sessions and to help them grow from week to week or however much they want to talk. We do that. So once you become a member, it's so many features. We really don't publicize that a
Right.
lot because we are literally still growing. And so we're trying
Right.
to make sure we perfect it before we start to package it in mass amounts.
Yes.
Because we don't want to get into mass production of garbage. So we want to make sure that we are able to service the people that we have well. And again,
Yes.
as we service more people, we invite more people in, and it's just been growing bigger and quicker than we could ever imagine or keep up
Right.
with.
Incredible. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please continue to show some love, give some hearts, give some shout outs, and make sure you guys go and check out Black Christian Influencers. Make sure you go to the YouTube page. You can apply on the Instagram to become a part of it if you're a Black Christian influencer or looking to be a Black Christian influencer or someone who has a business or a service or something, and it makes sense. You can apply through that. But don't be discouraged, even if that is not an avenue that works out for you. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, because this free content, what she just gave us here on Lucas Live, she is going to be putting out videos. She was working on one today. She showed me the setup where we're going to be able to get this content, get this information for free on a regular basis. So please, please, please make sure right after you go and subscribe to my channel. I'm just saying.
Start with his, right?
Can we start with mine, please? I mean, I got, I'm just saying. I mean, it's kind of messed up. You were like, yeah, we all subscribe to hers, and then if I don't see you subscribe to mine, we gonna have problems. I'm blocking you. I'm blocking you for the rest of the broadcast. No, but please, please do subscribe to her channel. Follow her. Pay attention to what she's doing, because I believe it's just the beginning. We can't wait to see your interview with Oprah. I believe it's gonna happen.
I'm waiting.
I think it's going to happen. I believe it's going to happen. You're doing great things. It was such an honor and such a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Such a pleasure. Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you again for all being here. Thank you all for your comments. Everybody who was here on the Lucas Live audience, stay with us. Continue to participate and engage in what we have going on. Make sure you check out Black Christian Influencers. I got the logo behind me. She's going to be putting out a lot of great content. It's real. It's for you if you're interested. Okay. Make sure you're paying attention to those things. And let's keep building the kingdom of God. Even in spite of what's going on right now, we still have an obligation to keep serving the kingdom of God. The church as we know it is changing. That doesn't mean we're never going to go back into a church building and hug each other and smile and worship together. But the church as we know it is changing. Shout out to Dayspring Family Church, the church that I attend here in North Canton, Ohio, for the great things that we're doing. Check out dayspringfamilychurch.com and see what we have going on our page and see what we have going on our ministry. Look it up on Facebook as well, and you can see some great messages and some great sermons and some great content as well. So again, I just wanted to thank you guys as the Lucas Live audience. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you so much, Ann Hagan, Keena, Sharice, Cassandra, Elise Brooks, JJ Lilly, my beautiful wife, Corinne Marie. Thank you all so much. Sexy Rob was in the house today. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys for all your love and support. We'll be back again tomorrow. We're going to talk about interracial couples. We're going to meet with the wonderful, beautiful interracial couple who have, I believe it's 8 children, a blended family, and they're going to break down what it means to have a blended family and how they make things work with all of those children. They got a set of twins or 2 sets of twins and a set of triplets. I don't remember the numbers, but they're going to be on. They're going to talk to us about their life, talk to us a little bit about finance and family and some other things that they're facing, and some cool things that happened. They were also, their triplets were featured in the Mr. Rogers movie, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood with Tom Hanks. We'll get into a little bit of that with them tomorrow. Don't miss the show tomorrow at 7 p.m. Again, thank you guys for your love and support. Everybody have a great night.